This is Chain Reaction, where supply chain news meets real-world impact. No nonsense, no wasted time. We decode the headlines, break down the trends shaping supply chains, and deliver the intel you need to move forward with confidence. Here's what you need to know.
So right in line with the top 3 most effective change measures, actually, that came out in this survey. The first one was employee feedback. The second was project-specific KPIs. And the third most impactful change management measure was benefits realization or return on investment. So I think when you can combine the 3, right? Use real-time employee feedback, make sure that you're managing and communicating and tracking against the KPIs, and you can ultimately turn it into to how are you impacting like the original intended business case for the program. You've got a pretty powerful case for change. So it's nice to see that your experiences and what we try to do here at Bristlecone and the survey results are all telling us the right answer. It's still hard to execute, right? But at least we know what we're supposed to be doing. Can we talk a little bit more?
Oops, sorry. May I just ask, like, in your experience too, like, I've also realized that maybe the hard way throughout my career that before you even think about a project of change, right? So we always are looking for a way to modernize and transform. Have you spent, like, what's your opinion on being in the trenches before you even identify a project? Like, I've learned to actually even initiate engagement by going out on the floor and asking associates or the leadership team of the sites what they're struggling with. And that leads to going out and looking for the solutions properly versus today, there's a whole bunch of shiny pennies out there, which change is the best for you, right? So I don't know.
Yeah, Great question. So our change management methodology here starts with a readiness assessment, just understanding the current state. And I think a lot of times people think current state means like, what's the process flow diagram, right? That's important, right? What version of SAP are you on? That's important. But understanding what the employee's mindset is, how much is already on their plate, understanding the degree of change fatigue, actually being able to measure and monitor their ability to ingest yet more change so that you're dealing with the reality on the ground as opposed to the idealist perspective, which is often how some of these transformation programs are treated. So yeah, I think starting with a objective, measurable, realistic current state through a formal readiness assessment is critical, because otherwise all of that planning, all of your objectives are built on an unstable foundation.
Yeah, so, and I call it push versus pull. So if you get them to pull it, it's more energized. If you're pushing something, it's de-energizing. So yeah, good to hear that perspective as well from you.
Yeah. So I think the bread and butter of a lot of change are twofold. There's communications and there's training. Could I pick your brain on those 2 areas? What do you see as the most effective communication vehicles when driving large scale change?
So for large scale change, usually it's a structured communication platform, and I'm not talking email blasts or just general communication, but having real meetings, conversations, roundtables, formalized structured meetings that have a cadence to them. So they could be on-site or virtual or both, a combination. So, and a set frequency. So you're not just like executing and then people are wondering, where are we on this thing, right? So that's more the formalized structure that I've used, and it works. And then it also gives you that essence of getting input to pivot as needed also, because it's less formal, and just emails. Emails are nice too, but honestly, I prefer vocal conversations and in-person, eyeball to eyeball. And then as far as training goes, of course you can do online training. I'm not a big fan of that personally. When I've executed change, I've have my team be hand in hand on the floor, so on the job, doing the job side by side. Again, it continues to give you data and input, and of course you're going to have some classroom training and some structured form of training in that regard. But for me, the biggest bang is putting your team connected with the person who's the recipient of your solution and training them hand in hand. And then you can pivot along the way too. Again, it's that big loop of ongoing feedback that you're getting. So those for me have been the most effective.
Yeah, that's great. Totally agree with that. I've probably driven this conversation a little out of order. So maybe we end with one of the most important pieces here as a way to pull it all together. And that's the importance of executive sponsorship. Can you, chime in from your own experience about the importance of having a strong and vocal executive sponsor? And what do you think makes us, what do you think actually makes a strong executive sponsor?
Yeah, so as a change agent in my former role, I can't win unless my peer level or above are aligned, right? So there's no way I'm going to go in. I can try, but it's more of a push, not a joint collaborative way of going about it, right? So yes, I'm going to voice, hey, these are the things we're seeing. What do you think? And having a conversation with my peer group and my boss potentially too, if I need to involve him. But mainly it starts with your collaborative effort with peer-to-peer. And then to get that credibility, having that person be the voice to their organization, saying, hey, here's what we're thinking, and then voicing that down. And then every conversation we've had that I've been a part of, I always have my peer in the room too, so that they're also listening and they're invited to the meetings, and we're pivoting as need be, and we're getting their buy-in and input on an ongoing basis. And if there's enough trust, they may evolve away and I'm carry on with my group to execute. Now, if I'm the leader of the buildings or the network, then it's really on me. So I am the sponsor. So it's a much easier engagement. But when you're the influencer, you have to have your peer level engagement who owns the P&L and it's their operation. So that has to come through them. That's the most effective way. Otherwise it becomes a push and there's no buy-in and they won't stand behind you.
Yeah. So what's your final piece of advice to someone who may be starting a big change program? What would you tell them is the number one thing they must get right?
They must get right. Gosh, you're making me do just one. Well, this is that get on the floor and make sure you know what you're trying to transform. And you got to get down and dirty and understand, what are you trying to solution? What are you trying to bring to the table and why? And how is that making the life of that operator better or that leader better, period. I mean, and then you got to engage them. Sorry, that wasn't one, but it really keeps going back to the down.
Yeah, it's clarity of what you're trying to change, buy-in from the actual stakeholders, and communicate, right?
Do such a better and graceful job than me summing it up. So thank you for that. So because I can sit in my office and dream up all kinds of stuff that's not going to stick. Seen it happen all day long, right? But you get that partnership going. Yeah, it's magic.
Yeah, great. Well, thank you so much for your time today. This was a great conversation, and hopefully we can do another one again soon.
Thank you for the opportunity, Jen. Obviously enjoyed speaking with you.